The puck slammed into my visor like a goddamn meteor, cracking the world into shards of white-hot pain and scattering stars across my vision. I hit the ice face first, the cold slapping my cheeks as blood pooled warm and sticky under my chin. And in that split second, I swear I heard my dad's voice echoing from the stands. "Get up, kid. You're tougher than this." But tougher than what? Tougher than the pros who just welcomed me to the Chicago Blackhawks with a boarding hit that felt like betrayal wrapped in body armor? As the arena lights blurred into a hazy halo, the last thing I saw before blacking out was him. Captain Jax Harlan, the alpha of alphas, skating over with that unreadable stare, his gloved hand reaching down like he was deciding whether to pull me up or finish me off. I came to in the team doctor's office, the smell of antiseptic burning my nostrils sharper than the sting in my ribs. My helmet was gone, pads half unstrapped, and the fluorescent buzz overhead drilled into my skull like a hangover from hell. "Easy there, rookie," a voice rumbled, low and gravelly, like tires on fresh snow. It was Jax, perched on the edge of the exam table, his massive frame dwarfing the room, that perpetual 5 o'clock shadow framing a jaw that could cut glass. His eyes, storm gray and piercing, locked onto mine, and for a heartbeat, the air thickened, charged with something I couldn't name. Not pity, not anger. Hunger? No, that was crazy. "You took that hit like a man," he said, his voice dropping an octave. "But if you want to stick around, you gotta learn to dodge like one too." 24 hours earlier, I'd been just another wide-eyed kid from the frozen suburbs of Buffalo, trading junior league glory for the big leagues in the Windy City. At 22, I was the Hawks' shiny new center, drafted in the 3rd round after a season that had scouts whispering, "Gifted but green." My name's Riley Kane, and I'd clawed my way here on sheer grit. Endless drills at dawn, tape-wrapped ankles pounding the boards until they bled, all to escape the ghost of a father who coached me harder than he hugged me. Chicago was my shot at redemption, at proving I wasn't just some farm team filler. But stepping onto that United Center ice for the first practice felt like walking into a wolf den wearing lamb chops for cologne. The locker room was a pressure cooker of egos and Axe body spray, vets slapping pads like old war stories, rookies like me keeping heads down and mouths shut. I laced up my skates in silence, heart hammering as I caught glimpses of the legends. Sniper wingers with Stanley Cup rings, goalies built like brick walls. And then there was Jax Harlan, the captain who dragged this franchise from playoff purgatory to contender status in 3 brutal seasons. At 28, he was the heart and fist of the team, 6'4" of coiled muscle, with tattoos snaking up his arms like road maps of every scar and triumph. They called him the Harlan Hammer for his bone-crushing checks. But off ice, whispers said he was a ghost. No scandals, no flings splashed across puck bunny blogs, just that quiet intensity that made grown men straighten up and salivate for his approval. Our eyes met across the room as I shrugged on my jersey, number 19 burning fresh against my chest. He nodded once, curt and commanding, like a king acknowledging a squire. I nodded back, stomach twisting in a knot that had nothing to do with nerves. Christ, Riley, get it together. This wasn't some fairy tale tryout. It was the NHL, where dreams got body slammed daily. But as we hit the ice, that nod lingered like a brand, pulling my focus every time he barked orders or powered through a drill. By the end of practice, my lungs were fire and my legs jelly, but I'd held my own, until that rookie hazing scrimmage, when some vet decided to test the new meat with a high stick to the grill. Now, post-hit, Jax was still there in the doc's office, ignoring the trainer's protests as he helped me sit up. His hand on my shoulder was steady, calluses rough against my skin through the thin undershirt, sending a jolt that had zilch to do with the pain meds. "Listen, Kane," he said, leaning in close enough I could smell leather and pine from his gear. "That was no accident. Tommy's got a chip on his shoulder about fresh blood. But you're mine to mold now. Got it? Mine." The word hung there, heavy and possessive, stirring something deep in my gut, a mix of fear and fire that made my pulse stutter. I swallowed hard, tasting copper. "Yes, sir. Won't happen again." He chuckled, a low rumble that vibrated through me. "Sir? Save that for the refs. Call me Jax. And Riley? Welcome to the pack. As he stood, clapping my back with enough force to rattle my teeth, I caught it. A flicker in his eyes, soft and searching, like he saw more than the bruised rookie staring back. Then he was gone, striding out with that effortless swagger, leaving me adrift in the echo of his words. Pack, like we were brothers in arms, or something more primal. I shook it off, chalking it up to concussion fog, but deep down, I knew. This wasn't just about surviving the ice. It was about surviving him. The next week blurred into a grind of film sessions, weight room wars, and dawn skates that left me puking Gatorade into the snowbanks outside the rink. Chicago in October was a beast. Crisp winds whipping off Lake Michigan, turning the streets into wind tunnels that howled like ghosts of glory past. I crashed in a cramped walk-up in Wrigleyville, walls thin enough to hear the L train rumble by at 3 a.m., dreaming of home-cooked pierogies and my mom's worried texts. Proud of you, baby, but call more. The team ribbed me relentlessly, nicknaming me Buffalo Bill after my hometown, stuffing my stall with fake mustaches. But Jax? He was different, distant yet dialed in. He'd pull me aside after drills, voice a gravel whisper, "Eyes up, Kane, anticipate the play." Or, "Loosen your grip, hockey's a dance, not a death match." His critiques cut deep, but they landed with care, like he was carving me into something sharper, stronger. Off the ice, glimpses of the man behind the captain chipped away at my defenses. Bus rides to away games, he'd slide into the seat beside me, sharing headphones for some old-school Springsteen, his knee brushing mine in the sway of the road. Thunder Road thumped between us, lyrics about highways and heartache mirroring the ache I felt blooming whenever he laughed. A rare, throaty sound that lit up the dim coach like fireworks. One night in Detroit, after a gritty 3-2 win, we lingered in the hotel bar, the team scattering like shrapnel while Jax nursed a whiskey neat. The place was all dark wood and neon glow, Motown ghosts in the jukebox crooning about lost love. "You're holding back out there," he said suddenly, swirling his glass, those gray eyes pinning me like a moth to corkboard. I froze, beer halfway to my lips. "What do you mean?" He leaned forward, elbows on the scarred oak bar, voice dropping low. "I see it, Riley. That fire in your eyes during Junior's vids. Pure poetry on blades. But here, you're skating scared, like you're waiting for the other skate to drop." My throat tightened. He wasn't wrong. Every shift, I felt the weight of expectations, the shadow of my dad's ghost coaching from beyond the grave. Prove your worth, the ice-time sun. But admitting that to Jax felt like handing over my soul on a silver platter. I took a swig, the bitter hop cutting the tension. Maybe I am scared. This league chews up kids like me and spits out scraps. And you're the captain, the guy who decides if I get minutes or pine. He studied me, long and unblinking, then reached across, his fingers brushing mine in a ghost of a touch, electric, accidental, infinite. "I'm not your enemy, kid. I'm your anchor." Anchor. The word wrapped around my heart like a lifeline tossed into stormy seas. For the first time since lacing up in Chicago, I felt seen. Not as the rookie, but as Riley. And in that neon haze, with Bruce crooning about no angels born in here, I wondered if anchors could pull you under, or lift you to the surface. As the weeks bled into November, the flirtation with fate sharpened into something razor-edged. We were 8-3-1, riding a heater fueled by Jax's iron will and my scrappy line chemistry with the vets. Practices turned ritualistic. Me arriving early, taping sticks in the quiet hum of the arena. Jax joining with coffee in hand. Black, no sugar, just like his mood on off days. We'd run one-on-one battles, him forechecking like a freight train, me decking with the puck like it was my last breath. Bruises bloomed on my hips from his checks, but each collision sparked something alive. A thrill that had me replaying slow-mo replays in my head long after the Zamboni smoothed the scars. The team noticed. Whispers in the showers. "Harlan's got a project in Kane." Tommy, the vet who'd laid the welcome hit, smirked it off as captain's pet. But his eyes narrowed whenever Jax clapped my shoulder post-drill. I ignored it, burying the unease under layers of tape and tape-wrapped dreams. But the pull between Jax and me? It was a current tugging inexorably. Late-night texts started innocent. Watch the tape from Motown. Your breakout was gold. Then veered personal. Ever miss the quiet of small-town rinks? I'd fire back from my fire escape. City lights twinkling like fallen stars. Every damn day. You? His reply, nah. Found my rhythm here. With the right wingman. Wingman. Hockey pun or something more. My heart revved like an idling engine. Then came the road trip from hell. 5 games in 7 nights. East Coast swing through the Rust Belt ghosts of Philly, Boston, New York. We split the first 2, my line chipping in a goal here, an assist there, but fatigue clawed deep. In Beantown, post a soul-crushing OT loss, the bus idled in a snow-dusted lot, while the team drowned sorrows in a dive bar called the Penalty Box. I hung back, nursing a root beer. Jax's rule for rookies: stay sharp, Kane. Ice waits for no one. But he found me anyway, sliding onto the stool beside mine. His presence a heat shield against the drafty chill. You good? He asked, voice cutting through the din of clinking glasses and Cat Stevens on the jukebox. I nodded, but he saw through it, always did. Liar. That turnover in the 3rd? Eaten you up. I sighed, the weight of the night crashing down. Felt like I let you down. You set the screen perfect, and I... He cut me off with a hand on my forearm, firm, unyielding, yet tender as a first snowfall. Hey, we win as a unit, lose as one. You're not letting anyone down, Riley. Not me. The way he said my name, like a secret shared in the dark, unraveled me. Our eyes locked, the bar fading to static, and in that suspended breath, I saw it. The mirror of my own ache in his gaze. Vulnerability. Yearning. A man who captained chaos but craved quiet harbors. We talked till last call. About his upbringing in the steel shadows of Pittsburgh. Dad a mill worker who taught him to fight fair. About my Buffalo blizzards. Mom holding down 2 jobs while I chased pucks to forget the empty chair at dinner. Laughter came easy, raw and real, bridging the chasm between rookie and vet. As the barkeep flipped chairs, Jack stood, offering his jacket against the sleet outside. Come on, wingman. Let's get you back before coach benches us both for curfew. I shrugged it on, enveloped in his scent, sweat and sandalwood, and as we dashed to the bus, his arms slung casual around my shoulders, I felt the world tilt. This wasn't mentorship. This was the edge of something vast, terrifying, beautiful, and I was falling, fast. Back in Chicago, the rhythm shifted. December dawned with a vengeance. Back-to-back homestands, holiday lights strung like victory banners across Michigan Avenue. The team hosted a charity skate for underprivileged kids at the United Center, and Jax pulled me into it, his idea to give back what the game's given us. We laced up with a gaggle of wide-eyed rugrats, teaching slap shots and stick handling amid shrieks of joy, watching him, this unbreakable force, kneel to eye level with a shy boy clutching a donated stick, his voice softening to coax out a smile, cracked me open. You're good with them? I said later, as we packed gear in the emptying arena, echoes of laughter fading like mist. He shrugged, but his eyes warmed. Kids don't judge. They just see the game. Pause. Like you do, Riley. That's rare. My chest tightened. We were alone now, the ice gleaming under house lights, a cathedral of silence. I stepped closer, pulse thundering. Jax, what are we doing here? His breath hitched, hand rising to cup my jaw, gentle, reverent, thumb tracing the bruise from last game's scrum. Proving ourselves, he murmured, voice husky with unspoken storms. To the team, to each other. Our foreheads touched, breaths mingling in the chill, and for a heartbeat, the world was just us. 2 souls on thin ice, teetering toward truth. But truth has teeth. That night, as snow blanketed the city, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Harlan's playing you, rookie. Ask him about the locker room ghost. Attached was a grainy photo. Jax, mid-laugh with a faceless figure in shadows, time-stamped last spring. My stomach plummeted. Betrayal? Or bait? I stared at the screen till dawn, the city stirring to life outside my window, wondering if anchors could drag you to the depths. The message gnawed at me like a bad penalty, festering through morning skate and into the haze of afternoon film review. I sat in the back row, notebook open but mind miles away, replaying that almost kiss in the arena's hush. Jax's touch lingered phantom on my skin, a promise poisoned by pixels. Who sent it? Tommy? Some jealous hanger-on? By the time we broke for the day, my resolve cracked. I needed answers, not shadows. I caught him in the parking garage, snowflakes swirling like confetti from a busted dream as he tossed his duffel into his black F-150. Jax, wait up. He turned, brow furrowing under the sodium lamp's glow. Kane? Thought you headed out. I thrust my phone forward, the photo glaring up like an accusation. His face drained of color, jaw clenching into that familiar steel. Where'd you get this? Doesn't matter. Who is he? And why's it feel like I'm the idiot in the room? The words tumbled out sharper than intended, laced with hurt I hadn't meant to bear. He raked a hand through his damp hair, exhaling a white plume into the cold. Riley, it's not shit. He glanced around the emptying lot, then nodded toward his truck. Get in. We talk. For real. I hesitated, pride warring with the pull in my chest, but climbed in anyway. The cab smelled of him. Leather seats warmed from his body, faint trace of that pine cologne. He cranked the engine but didn't pull out, just gripped the wheel till knuckles whitened. That pick? Last season. Guy named Derek, teammate from juniors, crashed on the couch after a bender. Nothing happened, but the rumors. He trailed off, eyes fixed on the dashboard. Rumors. My voice was small, the word hanging fragile. He finally met my gaze, raw and unguarded. Yeah, the league's a machine, Riley. Eats vulnerability for breakfast. I've kept my head down since day one. Captain's gotta be unbreakable. But Derek? He was the one slip. We talked late nights like this about stuff no one else gets. The loneliness of it all. Fans see the hero. They don't see the man staring at the ceiling, wondering if he's enough. His confession landed like a soft check. Jarring, but not breaking. I reached over, fingers tentative on his knee. So why hide? From the team? From me? He covered my hand with his warm and sure. Because alphas don't bend, kid. Or so they say. But you've been bending me since that first nod in the locker room. The air thickened, charged with the unsaid, and before I could breathe, he leaned across the console, lips brushing mine in a kiss that tasted of salt and salvation. Soft at first, exploratory, then deepening with the hunger of withheld storms. My world narrowed to the press of him. Rough stubble, urgent hands framing my face, and for those endless seconds, the photo, the whispers, dissolved into irrelevance. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, snow tapping the windshield like applause. Jax? I whispered, heart a wild drum. I'm in. All the way. He smiled, that rare curve that lit his edges soft. Then let's rewrite the playbook. Together. We drove through the glittering canyons of downtown, hands linked over the gearshift, the city unfolding like a love letter. That night, over takeout Thai in his high-rise overlooking the lake, spicy pad CEW and spring rolls steaming on the coffee table, we mapped it out. No grand announcements. The team was family, but family guarded secrets like shutouts. We'd be us, in stolen moments, proving on the ice what words couldn't touch. For a while, it worked like magic. December's frenzy, 12 games in 18 days, became our canvas. We'd steal glances across the bench, his wink before a face-off my secret fuel. Post-win huddles where his arms slung low around my waist, disguised as bro hug but electric as lightning. Off ice, it deepened. Lazy Sundays at his place, binging old Blackhawks tapes on his massive sectional, his head on my lap as I carted fingers through his hair, murmuring play breakdowns that dissolved into lazy kisses. He cooked, surprisingly decent chili, stories of his grandma's recipe, and I'd counter with buffalo wing hacks, laughter echoing off exposed brick walls. Chicago wrapped around us like a wool scarf, harsh winds outside but warmth within. But magic phrase. Whispers turned to stares, Tommy's smirks sharpening to blades. Then, the all-star break loomed. A week of respite in the eye of the storm. Jack suggested a getaway, nothing flashy, just a cabin up in Wisconsin's Northwoods, rented under a fake name. Just us, he said, packing flannels and thermoses. No pucks, no pressure. I agreed, heart soaring. We drove north at dawn, the skyline shrinking in the rearview, replaced by endless pines dusted white. The cabin was rustic poetry. Stone fireplace crackling, lake view through frost-laced windows, a deck strung with solar lights that twinkled like fireflies. Those days were stolen heaven. Mornings chopping wood, him shirtless, axe swinging like a pendulum, me pretending not to stare. Afternoons cross-country skiing trails that wound like veins through the forest, collapsing in snowbanks for breathless talks about futures. Mine a cup ring, his maybe coaching someday. Ours a quiet life beyond the blue line. Evenings by the fire, his arms my shelter, sharing dreams in the glow of embers. You make me believe in more than the game, he confessed one night, tracing constellations on my palm. In us. I kissed him then, slow and sure, the world fading to the rhythm of our breaths. No rush, no heat, just connection pure as fresh powder. We returned renewed, the break a battery charge for the sprint to playoffs. But the ghost from the photo. It resurrected on Valentine's Day of all ironies. A bouquet arrived at my stall. Red roses, no card, but the locker room buzzed. Tommy sidled up, grin feral. Secret admirer, Buffalo? Or just Harlan's sloppy seconds? The jab landed low, twisting the knife of doubt. I brushed it off, but seeds planted roots. That night, after a sloppy loss to the Wild, Jax and I fought. First real one. Over nothing and everything. You're pulling away, I accused, pacing his living room, city lights mocking through the blinds. Is it me? Or the rumors catching up? He slammed a fist on the counter, eyes flashing. Damn it, Riley. It's the job. Coach is writing me about chemistry. Scouts sniffing for cracks. I can't. Can't what? Be seen with the rookie? Or just be seen? Period. Hurt cracked my voice, and he deflated, shoulders slumping. I'm scared. Okay? Of losing you to this circus. Of losing everything. We made up in the quiet hours. Apologies whispered skin to skin. But the fracture lingered. A hairline crack in our foundation. March roared in like a lion. The standings a knife fight for the Central Division crown. We clinched a playoff spot with a thriller against Colorado. Me netting the game winner on a Harlan feed. The bench erupting as we mobbed at center ice. His hug lingered longest, helmet to helmet. That's my boy, growled low for my ears only. Ecstasy. But ecstasy blinds. I didn't see the storm brewing until the morning after, when my phone lit up with a headline from The Athletic. Hawks captain Harlan linked to mystery man. League insider spills. The article was vague venom. Anonymous sources claiming Jax's distraction, with a teammate risked team morale. Photo recycled but cropped closer, shadows implying intimacy. Twitter exploded. Harlan out trending. Fans split between diehards defending their captain and trolls slinging slurs. The locker room turned arctic. Vets avoided eyes. Rookies scattered like spooked deer. Coach pulled Jax into a closed door, emerging stone-faced. And me? I sat frozen in my stall, nausea churning, the roses from days ago wilting like my resolve. Jax found me in the weight room after, pumping iron like it could forge armor against the world. We face it together, he said, spotting my bench press, voice steady but eyes haunted. I racked the bar with a clang. Together, this could bench you, end us. He knelt, hands on my sweat-slick arms. Fierce. Let him try. You're worth every hit, Riley Kane. We clung there, the clang of distant machines our soundtrack, vowing to weather it. But vows test in tempests and ours was barreling down. The fallout cascaded. Media hounds swarmed practices. Mics thrust like sabers. Jax? Comments on the rumors? He stonewalled. Focus on the ice, fellas. but the poison seeped. Tommy cornered me in the sauna, steam cloaking his sneer. Told you, kid. Harlan's poison drags everyone down. Doubt gnawed. Was this the betrayal I'd feared? Not from Jax, but the machine devouring us. I confronted him that night, rain lashing his windows like accusations. Did you leak it? To protect your image. The words poisoned the air, and his flinch was a gut punch. You think that low of me? Hurt laced his roar. I took the heat for us. Swore to the brass it was bullshit, that you're just my protege. Protege. The word stung, reducing our fire to footnotes. I stormed out into the downpour, hail mixing with tears, wondering if love could survive the boards. April bloomed bloody. Playoffs dawned with the Hawks drawing the powerhouse Preds in the first round. A best-of-7 grudge match scripted for heartbreak. The city pulsed electric. Gold banners fluttering from lampposts, dive bars spilling cheers into the night. But inside the bubble, tension coiled like a spring trap. Jax and I played polite phantoms. Professional on the ice where our chemistry still sparked magic, but off. A minefield of silences and stolen glances that cut deeper than any cross-check. Game 1 was a barn-burner. 4-3 Hawks, my shorthanded goal in the third sealing it. Jax's assist a perfect saucer pass through traffic. The United Center quaked, Chelsea dagger thundering as we hugged at the horn. Cameras flashing, oblivious to the war raging beneath our jerseys. Post-game, in the shadowed bowels of the arena, he pulled me into an equipment closet, the door clicking shut like a confessional. We can't keep this up, he murmured, backing me against shelves of pads and pucks, his body a shield. The distance, it's killing me. I cupped his face, thumbs tracing the hollows under his eyes. Exhaustion etched from sleepless strategy sessions. Then fight for it. With me. Our kiss was desperate. A clash of teeth and tongues tasting of fear and fire. Hands fisting jerseys like lifelines. But the buzzer on his watch shattered it. Curfew, the invisible warden. We parted gasping, promises hanging fragile as mist. The series seesawed. Game 2 a Preds rout, 5-1, our defense shredded like wet paper. Blame flew. Coach benched half the third line. Media crucified Jax's leadership lapse. I overheard Tommy in the hall, voice oily. Told the suits it's the captain's drama tanking us. Rookies collateral. Rage boiled, but doubt tempered it. Was he right? Game 3, back home, we stole a 2-0 shutout. Jax's empty netter a dagger twist. Elation crested, but crested waves crash. That night, alone in my apartment, another leak dropped. A blurry video clip, grainy as sin, showing our garage kiss. Framed innocent but twisted damning by captions. Harlan's rookie romance sinks ship? Hell broke loose. Morning skate was a circus. Reporters barricading the tunnel. Fans divided with signs. Love wins, clashing, focus on puck. The front office summoned us separately. Me to HR for a discretion chat. Jax to the GM's office, emerging ashen. They're threatening trade, he told me later, voice hollow over burner phone. Me if it escalates. Say it's distraction. My world tilted. Bullshit. We're the best damn line out there. He laughed, bitter. Stats don't care about hearts, Riley. But I do. I choose you. Consequences be damned. His choice ignited ours. We went public, subtle but seismic. A joint presser pregame for Jax's hand on my shoulder as he stared down the mics. Rumors are noise. Riley Kane's my right hand on ice off. We're family. Building something unbreakable. The room erupted, questions flying like shrapnel. But his eyes on mine said everything. This is us. Unapologetic. The league brass squirmed. PR scrambling. But fans? They roared back. Hawks hearts trended. Queer icons tweeting solidarity. Even Billy Bean, MLB's first out GM, calling with advice. Own your story, boys. The ice melts for no one. Game 4 was Armageddon. Tied 3-3 in double OT. The arena a cauldron of sweat and screams. Preds swarmed like locusts, but we held. Jax blocking a wrister that could have ended it. Me stripping the puck for a breakaway denied by the post with a clang that echoed eternity. Then, chaos. Tommy, subbed in desperation, took a run at Jax behind the net. Elbow to the ribs, clean but vicious. Jax crumpled, gasping, blood flecking ice from a reopened lip. Rage blinded me. I charged, gloves off, fists flying in a flurry that earned matching misconducts. As refs pried us apart, Jax waved me off from the bench, eyes fierce. "Finish it, wingman." I did. With 30 ticks left off a face-off scrum, the puck squirted free. I sniped it top shelf, glove side, the lamp lighting like Judgment Day. 4-3 Hawks. The building detonated, teammates piling on as Jax pulled himself up, skating over to envelop me in a bear hug that drowned out the din. "That's my heart," he growled into my ear, salt-streaked and shining. Post-game, in the mad crush of confetti and cameras, we kissed, brief, defiant. Mics catching the gasp of 1,000 held breaths. The world shifted, but victory's a cruel tease. Game 5 in Nashville. A 6-2 thrashing, our wheels falling off amid travel fatigue and fractured trust. Tommy's betrayal crystallized in the third. He iced the puck on a break, then accidentally screened our goalie, gifting the Preds a tap-in. Locker room postmortem was a bloodbath. Coach exploding, Jack's quiet fury. I cornered Tommy by the stalls, voice low thunder. "Why? Jealousy? Or just hate?" He sneered, towel snapping the air. "Hate? Nah. Reality check, pretty boy. Harlan's poison always has been." I leaked the vid. For the team. The admission hung venomous. "You're done here." Jax's voice boomed from the door, fists balled. Tommy paled, but Jax turned away, disgust etching deep. "Clean out your stall. Waivers by morning." The purge rippled. Brass back Jax. Tommy waved, shipped to the AHL, but the damage festered. Game 6, do or die at home. We led 2-1 into the third, but penalties mounted, mine for roughing, Jax's for interference. Preds tied it, then won in OT on a deflection off our D-man skate. Series over. Elimination. The final horn wailed like a dirge, arena emptying to stunned silence. In the quiet locker room, gear strewn like battlefield debris, Jax stood at center, voice cracking but commanding. "We fought. We loved. That's more than most get." Tears streaked his face, mirroring mine, and as the team filtered out, hugs, vows for next year, he pulled me close. "Worth it. All of it." Summer stretched barren. The city shedding its playoff skin for Cubs season and lakefront languor. Jax and I navigated the wreckage. League investigation cleared us, but endorsements dried, whispers lingered. We moved in together. His high-rise traded for a cozy brownstone in Lincoln Park. Garden plot for herbs he swore would toughen up like us. Days blurred healing. Therapy sessions unpacking closets and captaincy cloaks. Pickup games at neighborhood rinks. Laughter reclaiming the joy we'd nearly lost. Pride Month hit like a rainbow tidal wave. Parade floats honking solidarity. Our story a sidebar in Out magazine. Hockey's unlikely heroes. But scars itch. One August evening, as fireflies danced over the lake, Jax proposed. Not ring, but promise. Over rooftop barbecue. Burgers charred just right. "Marry this mess?" he asked, kneeling on the weathered deck, eyes vulnerable as fresh ice. I pulled him up, kissing away doubt. "Already did, Captain." We wed in October. Small ceremony at the cabin. Team vets toasting with root beer. My mom dabbing tears. His sister officiating with Springsteen on Spotify. Vows exchanged under pines. In wins and losses, I choose you. The next season dawned different. Me no longer rookie, but cornerstone. Jack still alpha, but alpha with heart bared. We chased the cup fiercer. Our line a legend whispered in scouts' notebooks. And in quiet moments, post-game unwinds, fingers laced on the drive home. I knew. We'd proven more than skates could measure. In a league of ice and fire, we'd carved a thaw. Human, flawed, unbreakable. Love's the real game winner. Wait, no, that's not the end. The plot needs climax, betrayal deeper, humanistic close. I rushed. Let me recalibrate. Actually, in this seamless flow, the betrayal peaks later. The wedding glow faded into the grind of training camp, September's chill nipping at exposed skin as we reconvened at the United Center. I was 23 now, no longer the wide-eyed Buffalo kid but a battle-tested center with a cup chip on my shoulder. Jax, at 29, carried the captaincy like a crown of thorns, thicker lines around his eyes from off-season negotiations, his contract in limbo amid the scandal's echo. The front office loved our brand for ticket sales but hated the risk. Whispers of trade rumors dogged him like bad shadows. "Stay the course," he'd say over breakfast, oatmeal lumpy with his half-hearted stirs. Squeezing my hand under the table, I believed him, or tried to. Camp was brutal baptism. Double sessions till legs trembled, film till eyes crossed. Our chemistry hummed. Power play drills where his slapshot fed my redirects like clockwork, but undercurrents swirled. New rookies eyed us warily. Vets like our sniper left-winger, Marco, cracking jokes that landed half-hearted. "You two lovebirds gonna elope mid-shift?" Laughter followed, but brittle. Tommy's ghost haunted too. He'd resurfaced in the minors, fueling online bile from bitter corners of Puck Reddit. One night, scrolling in bed as Jax snored softly beside me, I stumbled on a thread. Harlan's hypocrisy. Exposed. Screenshots of old texts, purportedly from Derek. Claims of a deeper history, Jax stringing him along preemie. My stomach nodded. Forged? Or fracture? I buried it, but rot spreads. Mid-October, a home opener against the Bruins. Rematch of playoff ghosts. We dominated 5-2. My hat-trick hat floating down like autumn leaves. Jax's empty net a mic drop. Post-game high, champagne showers in the lounge. But as bubbles popped, my phone vibrated. Unknown caller. I stepped into the hall, voice hushed. "Kane." The line crackled. Then a voice. Slurred. Familiar from nightmares. "Tommy. Enjoy the glory, fairy. But Harlan's got skeletons. Ask about the juniors bet." Click. Bet. Heart hammering, I pocketed it. But the seed sprouted thorns. Confrontation brewed through a West Coast swing. Wins in LA and San Jose, but tension taut as guitar strings. In a Seattle hotel, rain lashing windows like accusations, I cracked. "What happened in juniors, Jax?" "With Derek." Truth. He froze mid-unlace, sock half off, eyes sharpening. "Where's this from?" "Doesn't matter, does it?" Silence stretched, heavy as fog. He sat on the bed's edge, elbows on knees, head bowed. "It was a bet. Dumb kid shit, 18, drunk on roadie adrenaline. Derek and I, we kissed. Once. Teammates dared us, thought it'd be laughs. But it wasn't. Woke something I buried deep." His voice cracked, gaze lifting raw, repentant. "I ghosted him after. Hurt him bad. That's the skeleton." Betrayal bloomed bitter. Not the act, but the omission, layers of our story built on half-truths. "You could have told me. Before the photo, the leaks. I thought we were partners," he finished, standing, hands outstretched. "We are. But I was ashamed, Riley, of the boy who panicked. Not anymore." He closed the gap, arms enveloping, but I stiffened. "Shame's a slow poison. Fix it." We slept back-to-back that night. The king bed a chasm. Rain symphony to my churning thoughts. The swing soured. Loss in Vancouver. A 4-3 OT heartbreaker where my turnover gifted the winner. Blame pinned on me in postmortems, coach's glare lingering. Back home, the league's sensitivity training loomed. A mandatory dog and pony for diversity. Ironic as brass knuckles. Jax and I sat side by side in the stuffy conference room, facilitators droning about allyship, but his knee nudged mine under the table. Apology and pressure. Afterward, in the elevator descent to the garage, he turned. "I'm telling the team. Full story. No more ghosts." Panic flared. "Now? Mid-season. Now. For us. For trust." The doors dinged open to echoing concrete, our footsteps sinking like hesitant blades. Locker room confessional. Post-practice, gear still damp, Jax at center circle, off ice, but ritualistic. Men story time. Eyes turned, murmurs dying. He laid it bare. Junior's folly, Derek's pain, the shame that chained him. I hid because captains don't crack. But Riley showed me, strength's in the share. We're stronger together on ice off. Questions. Silence, then Marco clapped slow, building to thunderous approval. Hugs followed, backslaps, even the goalie cracking. About time, Cap. We got your 6. Relief flooded, but mind tempered, trust a fragile rebuild. November's gauntlet tested it. Back-to-back against central rivals. Thanksgiving turkey cold in Tupperware as we grinded. We split, my line producing but penalties creeping, mine for frustration hooks, Jax's for overzealous protects. Off ice we mended, couples counseling with a sports psych, unpacking closets like old tape. Vulnerability's your superpower, she said. And Jax nodded, squeezing my hand. Dates reclaimed romance. Navy Pier Ferris wheel at dusk. City sprawled below like a jeweled promise. Deep dish pizza picnics in Grant Park. Sauce smears kissed away. Love rekindled, fiercer for the forge. But betrayal's echo lingers. December brought a bombshell. Derek surfaced, not vengeful but seeking closure. An email to Jax. CC'd me. Heard your story. Wish I'd had that courage. Congrats on the win. Attached a letter, forgiving, human. We read it together by the fireplace. Flames dancing shadows on walls. He's right, Jax whispered, arm around me. Courage. Ours. Tears came, cathartic, washing residue. The team rallied too. Holiday party at Marco's. Ugly sweaters and karaoke butchery. Jax belting Born to Run with me harmonizing. Laughter healing what headlines couldn't. January's all-star break. Jax selected, me snubbed. Sting of politics. But we jetted to the cabin. Snowshoeing trails blanketed pristine. One night, under Aurora whispers, he dropped to knee again. This time with a ring, simple platinum band etched with wingman. Forever. Eternity, I breathed, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of pine and promise. Back in Chi, the second half surged. 10-2-1 streak, our line torching nets, Harlan Kane trending for goals, not gossip. Climax crashed in March. President's Trophy chase, but a Detroit series unearthed Tommy. Called up on emergency recall, facing us in Game 3. Pre-game, he cornered me in the tunnel, eyes feral. Still sucking up to the fraud? Fists clenched, but Jax appeared, shoulder-checking past. Play the game, not the grudge. On ice, it exploded. Tommy's slash on my wrist, drawing blood. Jax's retaliation boarding him into the boards. Majors all around. Benches cleared, linesmen wrestling wolves. We held 4-2 win, but post, bruises bloomed, literal, figurative. Tommy's suspension followed, career coda, but his parting shot via text. Leaked audio from juniors, Jax's panicked voice post-kiss. This changes nothing. Bury it. Public outcry reignited. Pundits decrying toxic captaincy. League probed. Front office panicked. Step down, Harlan, or trade. Jax's face in the storm. Ashen. Resolute. Not without Riley. We met in the GM's office. Hands linked under the table, defiant. We're assets, I argued. Chemistry wins cups. They relented, probationary. Public service, sensitivity overhaul. But the toll? Jax's sleep fractured, mind vigilant. Playoffs loomed, cauldron calling. First round, avalanche, high-altitude hell. Game 7, down 3-2 in third, arena a pressure cooker. Turnover, EVS break. But Jax stripped, fed me cross-ice. I deked, snapped, glove side, lamp lit. OT heroics. His slap shot tipped by Marco, frenzy. Cup fever gripped Chicago, but our private war waged. Counseling marathons, love letters taped inside lockers. You are my cup. Eastern Conference Finals. Lightning strike. Series tied 3-3. Game 7 in Tampa. Heat like a furnace, humidity sapping souls. Tied 1-1 late third power play. Jax's wrister from the point, my screen perfect goal. But AVS answered, OT inevitable. Double OT, legs lead, triple lungs fire. Then the moment. AVS dump, I chase. Collision with their captain. My knee hyperextends, pop echoing like gunshot. I crumpled, ice cold against agony. Vision tunneling to Jax's face blurring through tears. Stay with me, he pleaded, cradling as trainers swarmed. Stretcher ride. Arena chanting my name. Surreal symphony to blackout. Hospital haze. MCL tear. Season over. Jax at bedside. Eyes red-rimmed. Hand vice on mine. You fought like hell. Tears fell. We did. Playoffs ended without us. Hawks fell in 7. Cup eluding. Summer surgery, rehab grind. Jax my constant. Fetching smoothies, trash-talking my one-leg drills. Tougher than nails, wingman. Humanistic dawn. League pardoned. Our story a panel at Pride events. Love's overtime. Off-season. We coached youth camps. Kids' eyes wide at the heroes who loved loud. Fall 2026. I returned. Knee braced but spirit steel. Opening night. Hat trick. Jax's assist on the third crowd-roaring Kane. Harlan. Post-game, his kiss in the tunnel, cameras be damned. Life's no fairy tale. Scars remain, doubts whisper. But in the rink's roar, our hands linked, we proved. Love's the ultimate shutout. Human, messy, triumphant. Epilogue whispers in the quiet afterglow. 2 years on, 2027. Hawks hoist the cup in Game 6 against Boston. Parade down Michigan Avenue, a river of gold. I'm 25, Jax 31. Rings on fingers glinting beside championship ones. Tommy faded to minor's obscurity. Derek a friend via emails, sharing his own coming-out tale. We bought the cabin outright, weekends escaping to woodsmoke and whispers. But humanism's heart. The boy from Buffalo who woke to wolves found his pack. Not just team, but tribe. Jax taught me alphas kneel. I showed him vulnerability scores. In America's heartland crucible, we etched a legacy. Not flawless heroes, but flawed men loving fiercely. And in that, redemption, not in silver, but souls intertwined. The ice thaws, but our fire? Eternal.